Hey everybody, it's new product time at work. Today we have a Dell Venue 11 Pro. This is the 7130 MS model. This model was ordered with a Core i5 4210Y at 1.5 gigahertz. This has 4 gigabytes of permanently soldered on RAM. There is no expansion. The upscale models are available with 8 gigs. This has a 128 gigabyte eMMC SSD made by Lite-On. This particular model, 256 gigs is also available. This of course is running Windows 8.1. Pro and standard versions are available. Dimensions on this guy are 11.72 inches by 6.96 by 0.4 inches thick. This is a 10.8 inch 1080p screen with 10-point touch. Its weight is approximately 1 pound, 12.5 ounces. Here's your standard box. There's just a couple quick startup guides in there. There's the sheathing on the outside. Not bad packaging. Not as good as the Surface Pros, but pretty good. The charger. It's this neat little guy here. You can pull the top off and get a cord if you want. This is 24 watts, 2 amps. You can move the, it's pretty neat. It charges with micro USB. To go over some of the outside connections, on the left hand side lower corner we have USB 3.0. We have your speaker, your volume up and down, your headphone jack. On the top we have heat vent, microphone, another microphone, the heat vent for the fan. On the right hand side we have another mic, the power button, another speaker, another mic, the Noble security lock. This is a micro SD card slot. This kind of works like your SIM trays, where you need a paper clip to push them out and then set it in there, which is pretty nice considering the Surface. It's exposed, so if you accidentally bump it, you could potentially lose your SD card. This one actually requires, a paper clip to push it out. This is your charging port and a mini HDMI port. On the bottom, you have your dock connector, your keyboard connectors, and these are where accessories can clip in right here on each side. You also have your 2 megapixel camera in the front. On the back we have an 8 megapixel camera. One thing this does have over the Surface is that the back plate and battery are removable. Your battery simply removes with push this switch here. It comes out there, 36 watt hours. Here's your SIM card slot here. Here's your hard drive, and your wireless card is underneath this piece of tape. And for the most part, you could disassemble most of this to repair things. As you can see, there are many screw slots. Throughout my 3 or 4 hours of use of the tablet, the fan did run a couple times, mainly when running performance tests. I just made it run now, running the system diagnostics, and that's about as loud as it gets. Otherwise, during normal operation, it's pretty quiet, and you have to be in a really quiet room not to, you have to be in a pretty quiet room to hear it. As far as heat goes, the upper right hand corner where the heatsink and fan are usually the warmest part of this tablet, and it gets a little warm right here where the Dell logo is. The left hand side, it's a little warm up here, but cool everywhere else. and I used it for 45 minutes on the internet watching YouTube videos, and it never really got too hot to touch at all. The wireless or the mobile keyboard was the same way while charging it, or it was right around the top 3 rows of keys, probably where the battery is where it got hot. Forgot to mention also, in addition to having wireless, this does have near field communication and Bluetooth. You also have the standard Windows logo home button down here. This does vibrate when you touch it. Some people found that annoying, but no big deal. As far as boot up time, with the battery removed, it's right around 18 seconds. From a normal shutdown, it's around 15. You must hold the power button until it vibrates for it to turn on. Otherwise, if you press the power button to turn it on, it won't do anything. So you actually hold it and then it will vibrate, and then you know it's coming on. As far as overall feel and quality, compared to say like the Surface Pro, this is pretty close. You can still feel that the plastic feels a little plasticky, and the Surface just feels a little nicer in your hands, but this is pretty good. Overall, way better than the Latitude 10 that we previously tested, mainly because we've got 4 gigs of RAM, we've got the I-series processors, which really help speed up performance. A lot of the guys out in the shop still like the Latitude 10, but you go out there to try to do something on it, and you can tell that it's really laggy because it doesn't have a lot of power, but it gets the job done. We'll talk about a couple of accessories that I picked up for this to go along with it. First one is a USB to Ethernet. This, unlike Microsoft's first attempt when they released their original service, this is actually gigabit Ethernet instead of 10100. It's got your link right there, and otherwise it's pretty much just a standard adapter, and it's not too big, not too small, and it should work just nice. Next one here is the tablet Folio. This is the front and rear case for the Venue 11. Unlike the Latitude 10, there seems to be 3 or 4 different offerings for the Venue 11 for tablets, or 4 covers from Dell alone. I haven't really looked and see what other manufacturers make, but we picked this up. All of the accessories pretty much come in a cardboard style boxes like this. Got a little thing to hold your silica gel packet there. The rear clamshell weighs 4.8 ounces. The front weighs 4.1. There is a strap for the stylus that we did not purchase because practically everyone that I purchased the stylus for has not used it. There are magnets on this front cover, kind of like your iPad. So there's really only magnets up in one of the top corners. So when you go to mount this, there's really nothing for it to hold on to the tablet, and it just kind of flaps around. The positive about the rear clamshell is it allows the use of the dock. Whereas like on the Latitude 10, the Griffin one, we took a saw and cut the ends off so we could put it in the dock, and this thing just pretty much just clips in here like that. You've got access to everything on the sides. Your SIM tray is the only thing that's covered up there. Just like the Surface, the whole magnet clicky thing clicks in there. It folds over. Like you can see, there's really, it's about a lot better if it would go up here and stick onto something, but it just kind of like sits there and it flops off, and it's not the greatest cover, but I mean it'll work if you're carrying it around like this. You can fold it in some odd ways to get it to act like a kickstand. It works okay for that. Next accessory we purchased is the mobile keyboard. This guy weighs 1 pound and 8 ounces, and it weighs that much for a good reason. This has a secondary 20 watt-hour battery inside of it. It has your standard newer style Dell chiclet keys. They've got a decent amount of travel on them for a rubber dome key. So far, the couple things I have typed on it is decent typing. Your FN keys are the F keys. I would really like to see that the other way around, because a lot of times most of our ERP apps make use of the F keys, and having to sit here and go like this instead of just typing on the F keys can be a little annoying for people. The touchpad is good sized. There's no backlighting. That probably would be a good sell point if it did. Has a caps lock indicator on the side there, and on the left hand side you have a little light that will indicate that you're charging. To charge this separately from the tablet, you can plug your micro USB in right there. This actually acts as like the hinge kickstand, like on your Surface, and it mounts pretty much the same way. Clicks in there. To release it, you press this button right here and it pulls just right off. Clicks back in. You don't get a lot of angle. That's as much angle as you get right there. You know, the Surface 2 you get a lot more, and the Surface 3 has even more, but you get a decent viewing angle. Sometimes you might want it to go a little farther back, but you don't get that. It does close up like a laptop. It doesn't close all the way. You get this little springy there, but there's no latch built into it, so that's understandable. It's really firm, so that's a good thing, that it should hold up fairly well, the constant closing and opening. When you're charging this, it charges the battery on the tablet first, then the battery on the keyboard second, and then when it tells you how much you have remaining, it takes an average of both batteries and displays that as your percentage remaining. Alright, the final accessory we bought for our Venue 11 is their dock. This guy weighs 1 pound, 13.2 ounces. It's very similar to the Latitude 10 dock, and it sits right here, and your dock port tilts. We got a USB 3, headphone jack in the front. On the rear, you have your power port, which is 65 watts or 3.34 amps, 19.5 volts. Just a little mini guy. Another USB 3.0, another USB, gigabit Ethernet, HDMI, and display port. You can do up to 2 monitors with this. As I mentioned, the nice thing about the tablet rear cover is that it will work with the docking station without modification. Of course, you can't use the keyboard on there as well. It'd be nice if they would make a dock that you wouldn't have to take any of that off there. You could just leave it as it is, but it's a big thing that you can use the cover with the dock. Our intended use for this tablet is for our guys in the shipping and warehouse departments that need more performance and power out of their workstations. Currently they're on terminal servers to our ERP, and when you're sharing resources with 20 to 30 other guys, the system gets slow at times. So the shipping foremen want to move to something that everybody has their own individual PC, so to speak, but they also want to keep them mobile, to where if they need to go pick a part, check a part number, and run a transaction, they can just literally pick this thing off the dock, go type in their transaction so they don't mess up a part number, and then come back and be on their way. So I think this will fit a good role there. It's pretty much between the Venue 11 Pro or your Surface Pro 2 or 3, depending on what's available when they make their decision. But all in all, this is a pretty solid unit, and you can get any standard Dell Pro Support warranty with this, which makes it a big plus in case something were to happen to it. There's no need to have to worry about advanced replacement or anything like that. If you break it and you've got the Pro Support warranty, they're out there within the next couple business days with parts and repairmen taking care of you. So thanks for watching, everybody.